Turning now to the latest in the migrant crisis, Governor Hochul announcing today that Floyd Bennett Field in Brooklyn, which was home to the city's first municipal airport, will now be used as a migrant shelter. Fox 5's Morgan Mackay joins us now with the details. Morgan, tell us exactly what we know about this new shelter.
So, Steve, Governor Kathy Hochul has been asking the federal government to use this site at the Floyd Bennett Airfield since May. She says just yesterday she was on the phone until 11 p.m. asking the feds about this site. The details are still being worked out, but this site could soon house more than 2,500 migrants.
Good news.
It has taken months, but the Biden administration finally authorizing the use of the Floyd Bennett Field to house migrants. Hochul says that the lease is still being reviewed, but once finalized, this site in Brooklyn will likely house more than 2,500 migrants.
This is a big step because the answer 1 month ago was no. So I'm viewing this as a significant development by the administration in Washington to acknowledge that we need more help here.
This comes as more than 100,000 migrants have passed through New York City since last spring. The city has set up more than 200 emergency shelter sites to house migrants and just recently finished work on 2 large-scale emergency relief centers, one outside the Creedmoor Psychiatric Center and one on Randall's Island. Mayor Eric Adams is currently in Israel, but sent a statement expressing gratitude to the state for committing to pay for the site on Floyd Bennett Field. However, he continued his call for a long-term strategy. Quote, "We've been forced to play an unsustainable game of whack-a-mole, opening new shelter site after new site as asylum seekers continue to arrive by the thousands." Hochul was asked about Adams calling on her to issue an executive order that would force upstate counties to house migrants, but doubled down that they needed to stay in New York City, citing more opportunities.
You're asking employers to expose themselves to federal sanctions to put them to work until they have legal work authorization. I'm not going to do that. We are working on our strategy, which is to create large-scale sites.
Hochul also announced an additional $20 million that will go towards helping migrants file their asylum seeker claims. Meanwhile, there's a court hearing on Wednesday that will examine how the city and state should care for migrants. Legal aid is also part of this court challenge, and Catherine Cliff says they will be visiting the 2 large tent shelter sites next week.
A lot of these locations now are in more remote areas of the city without a lot of great public transit options. So we are always pushing the city to provide some kind of means for people to get where they need to go.
So right now, more than 800 asylum seekers are staying at the shelter site outside the Creedmoor Psychiatric Center. It has a capacity to house 1,000 migrants, and it opened less than a week ago and it's already full. The site at Randall's Island opened yesterday, and there are already around 250 migrants staying there, according to city officials. Now they're hoping to house 3,000 migrants at that site. Steve?
Well, all right, thanks, Morgan.